everyone. Welcome to Speakspire with Sajee, where your story becomes the spark that inspires the world. We are coming to you with FinTV Los Angeles on 31.7. If you're here in USA, you can tune in to us at any time via channel 31.7, or you can watch us worldwide through any of the apps that are available. We are here from Walter J. Towers Talk Show Studio in Los Angeles, California. Today, we are delighted to have the CEO and the President of Trico Shipping and Maritime, Mr. Rohan Sourjah, in our studio. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Sajee. Happy to be here with you.
We are so delighted to have you here. So, Rohan, you are the president and the owner of renowned Trico Maritime International USA, with offices here in Los Angeles, Seattle, and San Francisco, I believe. And I know that you were born in Sri Lanka. You attended Royal College. So we would like to start off from there and get to know a little bit about you.
Yeah, thank you, and happy to be here and happy to share about my story. I started at Royal College and I was leaning a lot towards community service even at that time.
Yes.
And thank you for the initiative by the Rotary Club of Colombo. They had started the interact clubs in schools.
Yes.
So I took a lead role over there and got exposed to all of these community services that was available out. So we started with Cheshire Home. We did English, spoken English classes at the temple. So those are the initial exposure that I got. And then as a student at Royal College, I chaired the youth week, which every year at that time the Rotary Club would encourage. To every day of the week we would have a project covering service, finance, and all the aspects that covers community services. That was the beginning. And
that's quite interesting to know, because I myself got to be a part of our school interact club while in Sri Lanka, and then later on became a Rotaractor, went to join Rotary, but couldn't be there actually. But I'm so happy to hear all these stories coming from you now. So
I'm happy you understand when you when I say what the Interact Club does as when we are young students and participating at all of these events. Okay. Then I moved on to becoming a Leo. You'll be surprised by that shift.
Yes.
But when I started working for Haley's group, then my bosses were all Lions.
Right.
So I got into Leo Club and then to the Lions Club. There too I was heavily involved in doing volunteer work, and then I was in Kuwait for a short period in 1990, and that's where when the first Gulf War broke out. And at times I should say that leaders, we are all leaders, we have that within us. Right, and that you never know at what time that leadership quality in you emerges.
Right. So when that's a very inspiring story that I read about you somewhere, and I was so wanting to hear this story from yourself, you know. So I'm so glad that we can talk about this story right now to our viewers, and you know what you went through at that time, how you actually helped the communities. It didn't matter whether they were Sri Lankans, it didn't matter where they came from, you know, but you were there, you stepped in, you took that leadership role to save a lot of civilians. So over to you, we'd like to hear your story.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. So it's, the fact is, so never think that you are not a leader, you never think that you're not capable. But when that moment arises, you just emerge out and from that crowd, and you take that role. And for you to be looked up upon by the unknown people and give you that leadership role and putting their entire life in your hands is something that is really admirable and
Right.
you should give always a try.
Right.
Because those are the qualities that just emerges out of you. And a lot of things that I learned as an employee at Haley's about personality traits, because we used to have a personal assessment center where managers, their talents are being assessed and
Right.
for the succession plan. And they are like, I learned about survival tactics and all of that. So when we learn all of these things, we cannot like at once think of how are we going to apply these things to our real life
Right.
until you're faced with a situation.
Exactly.
So, and when the war broke out and I got the permission from the vice president of this company that I was handling overseas workers to go ahead and release the passports and find a way out, that's when I took a couple of people and did a pilot trip to the border.
Right.
And came back and confirmed, okay, there is a possibility for us to escape.
Right.
And of course, there was a lot of hardship. It'll be another program to accept, at least to explain that part of it. But
The process,
fact is,
yes.
we went through hardship to get to the border, came back next morning, and then we summoned all the employees. It was about 1,200, and then of which all the employees were ready to leave, and the next morning we took off at 6. And while driving towards Saudi, like I would see like so many others who saw this convoy leaving.
Right.
They kept joining us. So it was a long convoy that I
Right.
led, and managed to get across the illegal border crossing,
Right.
where we were met with the Saudi military, and then they transported us to a refugee camp. So it was an overnight trip.
Right.
And-
And so this was all happening in a foreign country where there was a war breaking out. Do you even recall, like, what was going on in your mind at that time?
Actually, like that kind of like adrenaline boost that you get.
Right.
And you're
The
not-
one that we always hear about, and it's only on certain occasions you actually experience it
Exactly.
hands-on, right?
because you don't know what to expect.
Right.
But you have one goal in mind, is to reach the other side.
Right.
So that with that in mind, and the confidence, and like automatically when people are following you, you want to make sure that you
Take the responsibility for
and move on. So when that happened, like basically like everyone around you are like basically cheering you and
Right.
keeping you
Going.
boosted.
Right.
And no sooner we crossed, it was just like huge, tall sand mountains that we had to go through. And we were transferred. Anyone who had the license to drive in Saudi was allowed to go in. The others had to get into these long 53-foot trucks where cattle used to be transported. So in those trucks that we were taken, and then we went to a place called Al Ruki border crossing, and that's where we were kept till our embassies or the consulates came and took us. So unfortunately, the Sri Lankan consulate did not have sufficient
Resources,
room, and they felt that we were better off being in the camp than being brought out in the city.
Oh, okay.
So, but I anyway managed to like get in with the Bangladeshi community. They signed for me and they took me to the city, and that was in Riyadh, and that's where I worked the passage for the rest of the Sri Lankan community to come out of that camp.
Okay.
So,
So you managed to take all these people to security, right? Are there people that are still in touch with you that, I mean, I'm sure you have a lot of stories behind that where you were the person, one person that they could rely on when a war was breaking out, you saved their lives. So you stepped in without taking care of your own self to save all these unknown people, because I'm sure most of the people that you helped out were not known to you, right? Personally, you didn't know everybody. So are you still in touch with them?
some of the Sri Lankans who managed to escape along with us, but majority of the Sri Lankans opted to stay back because they had saved up a lot of material stuff that so they did not want to part with. So
Right.
they chose to stay behind. But the majority of the others were like the Filipinos, the Indians, Pakistanis, and the Bangladeshis. So they chose to leave the country. So
Right.
that was one experience. So the lesson here is that we are all leaders in a different way.
In your own way,
or in your own
exactly.
way. So you got to see your
What are your
opportunities.
strengths?
Yep.
Right.
And depends on the opportunities. So I always say like there are some people who will be there to support you, but they are not won't be the one to take the initiative.
Right.
But you need everyone. You need
Yes.
a team. So with my years of experience in doing community work, I have found there are a lot of people who can support a leader to do what is needed to be done.
Right, which is simply amazing. And I think it's those qualities that you have within you that's actually helping you spearhead your company to this remarkable position, right? Because you've been awarded many an awards simply in the maritime industry, like, you know, Trico Maritime is a company that's well known. And would you like to share a little bit about your company and the fields that it's operating in and how your services are benefiting the community?
Yeah, I think Trico itself is the main company, is over 40 years old. Mm-hmm. And they too came to the assistance of all of these people who went for employment overseas.
Right.
Starting with in the UK, that's where the first Trico was formed.
Oh, okay.
And then came the Middle East, the housemaids and other employees going to the Middle Eastern countries. So they all had a need to send back goods to their families back home, or when they finished their contracts and when they were getting back home, they needed a way that they can ship all the cargo. So Trico initiated this, the first unaccompanied personal baggage warehouse. So this really fitted my my personality,
right,
where I can be of help to the Sri Lankan community. So what more than having an opportunity here too. Yeah.
Right.
So that's where I thought that my services will be appreciated, and I started Trico USA.
Right. And then I know, like, you know, the pandemic threw us all off because it was not an anticipated event. So how has your company adapted in the recent times after the pandemic with all your logistics services? How is it working right now?
Yes, so like, again, I go back to my old company, Haley's, as a management trainer at that time. We kept training people on SWOT analysis and all the other situations, how we had to adjust ourselves and take opportunity of the situations that we are in.
Right.
So the pandemic was not a surprise or not a thing, because we faced even the tsunami, when the tsunami happened in Sri Lanka.
To that, yeah.
So there are, if you look at it in a different way, how can we be of service to the community in a situation like that? So I tapped into my resources. I had my connections. People needed, they had their own needs, like to help, like the schools, the past pupils of various schools. They were doing their own project. So I was the mediating person that they can ship goods like the oximeters, the ventilators.
Right.
So whoever had access to this equipment and they knew who needed it, so I was the go-between.
Yeah. Right, so the go-to person during the pandemic, assisting the community.
I took advantage of that situation, and then I came forward, and we did a lot of work in that area.
Right, and it's amazing because we know you, the community knows you as the president and the owner of Trico Maritime, but there's a lot of work that you do behind the scenes for our community and for the people that are in need of your assistance, right? So speaking of all that, I know as the president of the Muslim Association of Southern California, you have taken this huge role in assisting people with the Muslim burials. I believe you came up with this amazing project, helping out people. I would be pleased if you can talk to us about that.
Yes, Sajee, as you know, like a funeral costs quite a lot of money in this country, and also the protocol that you got to follow is very strict, and that is very important. So all of that is time consuming.
Right.
So there were certain existing initiatives made by others before all of this thing, where they had made access to process a death certificate overnight. So that was one thing that was already set up by others and mortuaries.
Okay.
So what we did was we had a affordable subscription that a member has to pay throughout that member's lifetime. And after 3 years, when they continue make those payments, they qualify for the entire package, which is the burial plot, the burial, and the mortuary costs, which all today would cost about $18,000. So
For a person.
For a person.
Yes.
And usually death happens soon after an illness or
Right.
an hardship. So you have like used up all the resources you have, and when you are like in that state of mind, the bereaving family, now you don't want to go through this whole process also.
Exactly.
So that's where this the committee steps in, and it's one call away, and we have pre-purchased the burial plots. So we immediately assign a burial plot, inform the mortuary. Within 45 minutes, they come pick up the body, whether it is at home, hospital, or wherever. They pick up the body. They perform the mortuary services and have the body ready for burial. So depending on the family's needs, whether they want to follow the Sharia, where before 24 hours they want to do burial,
Right.
then we are ready if the cemetery has an opening, and we take care of that. Otherwise, we allow the family to make that decision.
Okay. So if at all there are people that would like to get to know more details about this, how can they do that?
Yeah, now we did this only for the Sri Lankan community, the Sri Lankan Muslim
Here
community.
in USA.
In the USA. But because of the success of it, I was asked to start this same program for the rest of the Muslim community.
Okay.
So that extends to the Pakistani, Indian, Middle Eastern, anywhere. So it started from the Islamic Center of South Bay in Lomita. So that's where now, like I'm focusing my attention, because it covers everyone.
Okay.
So now that program is taking off the ground. Now it's almost the third year we are into it.
Okay.
So we have been purchasing burial spaces in most of the nearby cemeteries, because we saw just after the pandemic, the prices like shot up like almost over 100%.
Exactly.
Burial plots that were selling at $3,000, $4,000 are now $20,000. So that is how it spiked up after the pandemic.
Right. And so if they have questions, are they able to find out more details on your
yes,
Facebook
so it's
pages,
in the
social media?
website, in our websites, there is a phone number, and like if they punch in that extension, the call comes to me. And I have enjoyed, Sajee, you wouldn't believe, like even in the middle of the night, if there's a call coming for this kind of service, I would just spring out of bed, and like I would go out and make sure that the family feels that there's somebody to take care of that department.
Right.
So, and there is no payment, but just the blessings and the gratitude that the family shows to you is which money cannot buy.
Right.
That's the feeling.
Yeah.
So that's.
Yeah, I think it's simply amazing just to listen to you and know, you know, how you help these communities at their time of need. So it's simply amazing just to know that.
In fact, I have shared this thing, and now I'm sharing. Right, I think every community should take after this, and I can explain to them the mechanics, how the workings of this program.
Right. So I think it is very important for all the communities to step in, as you said, because this is one thing where we always see people are so overwhelmed, right? When something happens, they don't know exactly who to reach out to, how to take care of these, you know, in every single way. So I'm so glad that you are addressing this to our community right now. So if somebody needs that assistance, they can get more details from you and then go from there.
Exactly.
So this is just one project that you have been actually focusing on. Apart from this, I know that there are lots of other volunteer services that you're doing, and you also have some other projects that are lined up. So if you were to speak about those. Yeah,
another program that is close to me and dear to me is the Neighborhood Justice Program. It's known as the NJP. It's basically a restorative justice program where I'm involved with the city of LA, and it's the city attorney's department is the one who's running this program. So I volunteer as a facilitator in that program. So what they do is they take the first time offenders of small crimes, and they transfer those cases into the NJP system. And the reason behind is that the court system is so clogged up, and there are, due to the lack of courthouses, due to the lack of judges. So this system is going back to the good old days, where even in Sri Lanka we had the Grama Sevaka, or the at that level, where like little crimes have been
reported.
Dealt with, right. So here what happens is we have these centers in various cities in the city, and then it is functioning under the facilitator and 3 panelists and a coordinator from the city attorney's department. So my job as a panelist is, as a facilitator, is to make sure the conversation is kept focused on the right track, and the panelists will question the participant. So we don't call that person as a criminal, or so we call that person a participant. So initially we had a discussion across the table, but over there, like I was with my experience with back here at Haley's about communication and how best to have communication set up. So we got rid of that sitting across the table and to feel that as we are addressing someone at a different level. So we had just all of us seated around in a sofa or whatever, and to make the person who was the participant comfortable. And my job would be to discuss the process and confirm that this person has accepted this process, and then we ask the person as to how was the day previous to this incident, what happened, then that morning what happened, and then what led you to this crime. So basically you give the respect that the person deserves in order to make them speak up, and go from there, assisting and
them.
The person feel very comfortable. And then because now we are looking at the situation in their point of view, and they bring up a lot of things, not only what happened on that day, about their childhood issues they had that has led them to live a life like this.
Because we are used to a completely different system, You see someone committing a crime, you already label them.
Label the person.
In your head, you're like, okay, you're a thief, you're a robber, and you start from there. But whereas your mindset is completely different to this, and the process is totally different. So
because if you accept the court system, so for this kind of crime, this is the penalty, this is the jail time, and the sentence is already given.
Right.
But here it's different. You get to understand the person, and simple things like that. And like you would believe, there was one time a student from UCLA, and she said she was caught shoplifting.
Oh.
With one of those jackets that said "a proud parent of a UCLA grad" or something. And the reason she said that, I thought this was nothing for UCLA, just one T-shirt.
Right.
For my father on his birthday, because the mother kept pressurizing her that she should send something for the father.
Right.
But she did not realize the implications for that store manager and all of that. So when I was explaining this to her, she broke down in tears. She said, I did not know that it's such a serious offense.
Right. So we actually have, I mean, basically not we, like you have this recovery system, right? You are able to talk to them and actually get them on the correct path, whereas we are used to a system where we actually label them and you keep on pushing them to the wrong path.
So that comes to the point that the repeat crime rate of these individuals are just only 4%.
Right.
As opposed to the court system, that's like over 20%, the repeat rate. So here we get rid of that bad habits, whereas in the court system, they go to jail, they meet others, they find out how to improve on the way they do those crimes. So that's a plus. And the beauty of it is, like, we don't tell them what they're supposed to do. So
you just make them understand.
Yeah, and also as a community service, like we would tell them, okay, choose something that will benefit you, right? Okay, these are the facilities that are available, and based on your free time or your work schedule, okay, you can do this. Or a simple thing like write a reflection essay about this crime. Like if you had a better way of taking care of this situation, what would you have done?
Right.
So it is as simple as that.
Right.
So a lot of people, if they had this opportunity to choose, I'm sure they'll choose this, and we would have a lesser repeat crime rate. So
yeah, totally agree with you on that. And it's so lovely to hear from you, a person that's extremely busy, you know, because you have a very successful career and a company behind you. And in spite of all that, we are so accustomed to hearing people telling us, oh, I'm so busy, I'm sorry, I'm busy, you know, I have no time. But you finding the time as a CEO of a company to cater to the needs of the community, it's just totally inspiring. And we are totally indebted to you and very thankful for the services that you are doing to our community to make it a better place, obviously for you and for me and for every one of us, right? So it's just
I think this is something that our younger generation have to understand. It's just not, life is not all about running after a career, running after
the monetary values, right?
Yeah, it's not all about the money will follow you if your heart is in the right place. And there are a lot of people who call me and talk about their problems. I give them a different perspective of a problem, like even just problem with a sibling. I tell them, look at it as a test, look at it as an opportunity. Like you have been tested to see what kind of patience you have. And you try to say, okay, my brother did this to me, and don't try to take it back on him. Like show that, okay, fine, I understand your situation, that's why you did this to me. So that kind of thing, and you're all the time testing to see if you have those qualities that a lot of people are. We read it in books, we read it in our religious manuscripts and all of these things. Okay, do this, do that. It's not about just reading. But putting into practice every day. When you wake up and like you walk out and you see people unloading all kinds of garbage, and which is all within them. And if you can handle those situations, I think that is what it means. Like this is like always think of like even for us to wake up in the morning and do a morning walk, right? It's a great blessing. Whereas like people wake up to buildings crashing on their head, right?
Which is totally unnecessary,
exactly.
right?
So I think we need to, like, every moment, everything, even you and I talking, right? It's a blessing that we have.
Because life is short and you have to make the most of it while you can.
Exactly.
So being able to give back to the community, and it's totally inspiring for us to learn how your childhood as an interactor, then becoming a Rotaractor, joining Rotary, and then your journey to the Leo Club. All this has instilled so many values in you that you think it's not all about you. You have to contribute to the community. So I think you gave us some great advices, especially for our younger generation. And we are all inspired listening to your stories, and which is what Speakspire with Sajee is about, inspiring others with your stories. And we thank you so much, Mr. Rohan Sourjah, for having joined us today. And we hope to see you again soon, and we wish you good luck.
Thank you, Sajee. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us with Speakspire with Sajee, where we get to inspire you with real life stories. You are watching FinTV Los Angeles on channel 31.7. Once again, if you are here in USA, you can watch us anytime via channel 31.7. Watch us 24/7, anytime, anywhere. If you are outside of USA, you can watch us through LG TV, Apple, Samsung, Sony, Amazon, Roku, or Hulu. We are available for you anytime via FinTV YouTube site. Thank you, and we hope to see you again next week with another episode of Speakspire with Sajee.